Welcome back to the channel. Today we are looking at two key years in Australian decimal coin history, the 1966 and 1981 20-cent coins. These coins are familiar to many Australians, but certain versions can be surprisingly valuable. And if an ultra-limited strike exists for either year, it could be one of the rarest pieces in modern Australian numismatics. Let's get started. The 1966 20-cent coin was struck in cupronickel that is 75% copper and 25% nickel, giving it a silver-grey color and a weight of 11.31 grams. It has a diameter of 28.52 millimeters and a reeded edge. Designed for durability, this coin was intended for daily use, which is why most examples you will see today show at least some signs of circulation wear. The size and weight are noticeably larger than the current 20-cent coins minted in later decades, and the original 1966 strikes have a certain heft that older collectors still appreciate. The obverse of the 1966 20-cent coin features the young portrait of Queen Elizabeth by Arnold Machin, the very first effigy of the Queen to appear on Australia's decimal coinage. Around the edge is the inscription, Elizabeth Australia 1966. On the reverse you will find the graceful platypus design by Stuart Devlin, Australia's goldsmith and jeweller to the Queen. The platypus, a uniquely Australian animal, was chosen to reflect the country's distinctive wildlife and to provide instant recognition. Devlin's swirling water motif around the platypus remains one of the most admired designs in Australian coinage. The 1966 20-cent coin was part of the groundbreaking decimal currency rollout on February 14, 1966, known as C. Day. Australia moved from the imperial system of shillings and pence to a decimal system where 100 cents equaled $1. The 20-cent replaced the florin, which had been worth 2 shillings, because 1966 was the first year of issue. Enormous quantities were struck to meet the needs of the entire nation. This year's coins were produced both at the Royal Australian Mint in Canberra and by the Royal Mint in London to meet demand. The result, two distinct mint varieties that collectors still actively hunt for today. Here where things get interesting. The 1966 20-cent coin comes in two main varieties, Canberra Mint and London Mint. While there is no mint mark, the easiest way to tell them apart is by looking at the number 2 in the 20 on the reverse on Canberra strikes. The base of the 2 is flatter on London strikes, it curves more. The London coins are generally considered scarcer and can command a higher premium in high grades. There's also the famous 1966 wavy baseline variety, where the baseline under the 2 in 20 has a noticeable upward wave. This is one of Australia's most sought after decimal varieties and can be worth hundreds even in circulated condition. In everyday terms, the 1966 20-cent coin has a face value of, you guessed it, 20 cents. But in collector terms, here's where the numbers change. Common Canberra or London strikes in circulated condition usually sell for around $1.03 Australian dollars. High-grade uncirculated examples can bring $15, 30 Australian dollars or more. The real stars are the wavy baseline variety. Even a worn example can fetch $200, $300 AUD, while an uncirculated one can easily exceed $1,000 AUD. At auction, market values also respond to collector demand, so prices for top examples can fluctuate over time. When searching your change or dealer stock, focus first on a flat base indicates the standard variety, a curved base indicates London Mint, and a wavy baseline is the rare variety. Use a good magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe and check under strong light to see the baseline clearly. Also look at overall condition, strong luster, sharp details in the Queen's hair and the platypus design, and minimal bag marks can dramatically increase value. If you think you have found a wavy baseline, get it authenticated by a reputable grading service like or an Australian specialist. When buying, I especially always request clear close-up photos of the date and denomination area to check for the wavy baseline, transparent about whether your coin is Canberra, London or wavy variety, and provide detailed photos to justify your asking price. Coin shows, specialist dealers and auction platforms like eBay are common venues, but for rare varieties consider reputable auction houses with experience in Australian decimal coins. Remember that buyers pay more for certified coins, especially when chasing high-grade wavy baselines. Since the 1966 20-cent coin is cupronickel, it does not tarnish like silver. but it can still suffer from wear and unattractive toning if poorly stored. Handle by the edges, avoid cleaning, and keep in archival safe holders. Airtight coin capsules are excellent for uncirculated coins. Store in a cool, dry environment away from containing plastics, which can cause green residue over time. For particularly valuable varieties, consider slabbing through a grading service. It provides both protection and authentication and can help with resale. The 1966 Australian 20-cent coin. Just spare change, it's a piece of national history and the start of our decimal journey. For most people, it's worth little more than its face value, but for collectors who know what to look for, it can be a gateway to one of Australia's most valuable modern coin varieties. Checking your change, browsing a coin fair, or building a decimal set, keep your eyes open for that wavy baseline. It could turn a humble 20 cents into a collector's prize. If you enjoyed this breakdown, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, and tell me in the comments if you have ever found a valuable coin in your change. Next time, we will dive into another Australian decimal classic, the 1966 50-cent round silver, and explore why it's one of the most collected coins in the country. Next up, the 1981 20-cent coin keeps the classic cupra nickel composition of 75% copper and 25% nickel, weighing 11.31 grams with a diameter of 28.52 millimeters and a reeded edge. This weight and size have been consistent for 20-cent coins since their decimal introduction in 1966, so physical dimensions alone were not set 1981 apart. Still, for authentication purposes, those measurements matter. If a coin is significantly off-weight or undersized, you may have either a mint error or a counterfeit. The standard look is the silvery gray of cupra nickel, which tones slowly compared to silver but can still develop attractive light gold or bluish hues if stored for decades. The obverse carries the familiar portrait of Queen Elizabeth in this year, still the Arnold Machin second portrait used from 1966 through 1984 on Australian coinage. Around the rim is the legend, Elizabeth Australia 1981. The reverse is the iconic platypus designed by Stuart Devlin, a dynamic depiction of the animal swimming through swirling water, capturing the sense of motion and the uniqueness of Australia wildlife. The 20-cent platypus has become one of the most recognizable designs in the decimal series, beloved for its artistry and clean layout that stands up well to decades of circulation. 1981 falls in an interesting period for Australian coinage. The Royal Australian Mint in Canberra was in full operation, but to meet production needs and sometimes for logistical cost reasons, Australia also contracted coin production to other mints overseas. In 1981, 20-cent coins were struck not only in Canberra, but also at the Royal Mint in Llantrisant, Wales, and the Royal Canadian Mint in Ottawa. All coins were produced to the same specifications and bore no mint marks, making origin detection a matter of small design and strike quality differences for collectors. This makes 1981 a fun year to hunt for subtle diagnostics. While there are no wildly famous 1981 20-cent rarities like the 1966 wavy baseline varieties, in 1981 generally revolve around mint of origin differences, subtle distinctions in rim height, metal sheen, and the sharpness of the platypus fur or Queen S hair have been used by specialists to sort coins into Canberra Llantrisant or Ottawa strikes. In high grades, some collectors seek to complete a 3-mint set for the year era coins. Also exist, including partial collar strikes off centers and broad strikes, though they are not common and usually emerge from bulk lot finds or old dealer stock. On paper, the coin face value is 20 cents, and in most cases, that what circulated examples are worth in spending power. In the collector market, circulated 1981 coins are typically valued at 50 cents to $1 Australian dollar if in nice condition. Uncirculated coins in brilliant mint state can bring $4.08 Australian dollars, especially if attributed to one of the scarcer mints. Error coins, depending on the type and eye appeal, can command anywhere from $20 to over $100 Australian dollars. The lesson here is that condition and novelty drive collector premiums. The base coin is common, but pristine examples and unusual strikes can attract interest. If you are roll hunting or checking change, start by pulling out coins with full mint luster, that shimmering cartwheel effect when you tilt the coin in light. Look for sharply defined hair strands on the Queen's portrait and clear, crisp detail in the platypus fur and water lines. Avoid coins with deep scratches, rim dings, or spotting. For potential mint attribution, compare lettering shapes and relief depth under magnification with online reference photos. And keep an eye out for any coin that off-center has extra metal or shows an unusual rim. These could be errors worth further investigation. When buying, especially look for in focus photos and honest descriptions. If the seller claims a coin is from the Canadian or Welsh Mint, they should be able to point out the diagnostics that prove it. For selling, highlight the coin condition, origin, and any error features in your listing. High-grade coins are best sold individually while average circulated. Pieces might be moved in bulk to other collectors or dealers. Auction site specialist and coin shows are all good venues. But remember, serious buyers want specifics and clarity. The 1981 20-cent cupro-nickel alloy is durable, but surface quality still matters to collectors. Handle by the edges to avoid fingerprints, which can leave oily marks that dull luster. Store uncirculated coins in inert holders like mylar flips or acrylic capsules and keep them in a which can cause green residue. Avoid cleaning. Even a light polish can leave hairline scratches that permanently reduce a coin value if you have a coin you think is an error or in exceptional condition. Consider professional grading for long-term protection and authentication. The 1981 Australian 20-cent coin might not make headlines like the 1966 wavy baseline, but it's a fascinating example of how even common year coins can have stories to tell from multiple mints to subtle varieties and the occasional error that makes collectors take notice. For most, it's a reminder of the change that passed through countless Aussie hands. For collectors, it's a year worth keeping an eye out for in high grade or with unusual traits. If you enjoyed this long form look at a seemingly ordinary coin, smash that subscribe button, hit the bell, and drop a comment if you have ever found a standout 1981 in your change. Next time we will look at another decimal coin with a hidden twist, and you won't not want to miss it.